With me this evening is Mahesh Bhatt. Mahesh Bhatt put out a tweet in which he had a piece of paper before him, and he wrote on that, "Dear leaders, do not let the actions of a few violent men write the future of many people like me who want peace. Kill terrorists, not talks. Profile for peace." Two hashtags he used out there. That was his message. And he joins me live this evening. Mr. Bhatt, welcome. Mr. Bhatt, do you think Fawad Khan, Ali Zafar, Mahira Khan, all these Pakistani actors and actresses, do you think they should take a clear position against the terrorism that is coming from Pakistan, which has led to the Uri attack, the Baramulla attack, you know, the loss of lives of Indian soldiers? Do you think they should take a clear position on this terrorism?
Every peace-loving individual that lives on this planet Earth needs to take a firm position against terrorism. And the answer to your question clearly is yes. My brothers and sisters across the border who are themselves the victim of terrorism need to take a clear position against terror when we bleed. Like when there was an attack in Peshawar and 131 children were massacred, we in India wept because we felt what they were feeling. So I think the entire human race must come under one roof and take a firm position against any kind of terror and not distinguish.
Then why is there such a hullabaloo? Mr. Bhatt, please explain to me today. Why are some people, you know, getting so upset when I ask them that why don't these Pakistani stars take a position on terrorism? I'm not asking them to take a position against their government or against the Pakistan army. I'm telling them to take a position on terrorism. Why this fake outrage that, oh my God, you know, it's just not right to tell them to take a position on terrorism, and stars should not be asked that question? Why should stars be exempt from taking a position on terrorism?
I think stars are no different from anybody else, and I think if you hold the mirror and ask them this question, in fact you do them a big favor, because I think it's a moment when they need to take a position within themselves where they stand. And I think individually, I know these people.
Why don't they?
Warm, nice people.
No, they may be nice people. I don't care about their niceness, Mr. Bhatt. Why don't they take a position on it? I mean, anyone who has a thinking mind, use words like that. Why don't they? And why does a person like Salman Khan say that they've got a visa to work in India? Don't expect them to have a position on terrorism. What is so complicated about taking a position on terrorism?
Arnab, I watched that clip of Salman. I think he was making a clear distinction between the terrorists, and he very clearly said that when any kind of terror is unleashed on you, you must give those guys a bloody nose, which we did. But he said, please, for God's sake, when the Prime Minister of the country says that this is not a war against the people of Pakistan, it's a war against those terrorists.
Mr. Bhatt, the question was, why do Pakistani stars not take a position on terrorism? If you believe that as civilized human beings, we should take a position on terrorism, why would anyone endorse a bunch of people who refuse to take a stand on the same? They take Indian hospitality, they work in India, they gain financially from the adulation of the people of India, but when it comes to saying that terrorism in India must stop, especially terrorism from Pakistan, why don't they take a position on that?
Well, I think your question will be echoing there in their hearts now, and I am certain that they will take a position, because I am convinced that they are as outraged when there is loss to innocent life as we are.
I haven't heard them say it. I haven't heard them say it.
Don't give up. Don't give up on them. Or not maybe after this interview of yours and mine, maybe you will hear from them.
Well, I think it is significant that Mahesh Bhatt, you know, who believes always in the soft line approach vis-a-vis Pakistan in this endless line of talks that lead nowhere, even Mahesh Bhatt, I'd say, even Mahesh Bhatt believes that people like Fawad Khan, Ali Zafar, Mahira Khan should take a position on terrorism. Mr. Bhatt, let me ask you, would you expect a Pakistani, produce a hypothetical question, to hire you as a director for a Pakistani film. If any Pakistani channel, GOTV, ARY, any Pakistani channel was to come to you and say, Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, what is your view on the Peshawar attacks in which 139 children have been killed? And you said, oh, I am an Indian and I cannot take a position on the Peshawar attacks. Then would you expect any Pakistani producer, film industry, the people of Pakistan to lay out a red carpet for you after that?
Well, it's a hypothetical question, so I wouldn't answer it. But I'm certain that this question and answer session that's going on right now will certainly result in my brothers and sisters in Pakistan who belong to the artistic fraternity taking a clear stand. And coming to Salman Khan was very clear. He said, please do not confuse the actors.
Salman Khan made an argument for the silence of the Pakistani. Salman Khan was making a clear argument for explaining and justifying the silence of the Pakistani stars by saying they've been given work visas and hence you don't expect them to take a position on issues such as terrorism. See, Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, listen here. This whole argument.
Arnab Goswami, the clip.
Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, you can't take an ambivalent position on this. You can't begin by saying, oh, I'm with the forces. No, Mr. Bhatt, listen. You can't begin by saying, oh, I'm with the forces. But when asked, why don't the Pakistani stars take a position on issues such as terrorism when Indians are dying? At that point of time, you turn around and say, but they are stars. Do you expect stars to have anything? Mr. Bhatt, you tell me today. I've heard this facetious and superficial argument over the last few days that these are stars. These are not politicians. And only politicians need to take a position on issues like this. Do you believe that stars or anyone or Pakistani actors don't have a mind of their own? They come to India, they are beneficiaries of the adulation and popularity they enjoy among our people. Does that mean that they take no position on matters that affect the Indian public?
I have spelled out my position, Mr. Arnab Goswami. Every human being living on this planet needs to take a clear position against terror of any kind. And I urge, and with folded hands and bended knees, I appeal to Fawad and all the actors who come here and stand on the same platform and entertain the people of the world to take a clear position and condemn terror when it happens on our soil. That would bridge distances that suddenly get created in moments like this. So you are absolutely justified by asking them to do this, and I do the same.
Mr. Bhatt, the word I use for it is moral hypocrisy. I think it is the moral hypocrisy of an Ali Zafar, the Pakistani singer, who releases a full song after the Peshawar attacks and doesn't say one word about Uri. I think that's moral hypocrisy. Do you agree with me?
I would say it's timidity. I think because
timidity?
They fear. I think it's timidity. Look today, Arnab, how many people within my own country, within my own fraternity are taking a clear position. People are frightened to take a public position, and I don't think you should blame them for
But how come Ali Zafar is not timid about the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Taliban when it comes to attacks inside Pakistan? But he's timid about the Jaish-e-Mohammed and the Lashkar-e-Toiba when it comes to attacks on Indian soldiers. How come the timidity appears only in the Indian context?
I completely agree with you that he ought to take a clear position. And I wish that they do it now and let bygones be bygones, and then they prove once and for all in a moment like this, when we are negotiating this very painful curve in our history, where their hearts lie. And I think the civil society of Pakistan is clearly against terrorism, and my actors fraternity are also standing with us. Unfortunately, this is the time when we need to hear them, and since we don't hear them, we conclude that they are tight-lipped because they have some other agenda, which I don't think they have.
Well, I don't know. You know, Mr. Bhatt, you know, you are talking about the Pakistani stars, but you refuse to say a word about Karan Johar or Salman Khan, because obviously your Bollywood fraternal links come in the way of that. Otherwise, you would have said that Salman Khan and Karan Johar should be speaking the same language as you. Instead of building a case for the Pakistani stars, they should be on television appealing to these Pakistani stars to finally break their silence on this one issue. But of course, I'm sure that you won't speak about them because your fraternal
doing it on their
Bollywood links
behalf.
are greater, more important.
I'm doing that on their behalf. I am appealing to my Pakistani stars and entertainers to join the human race, join the Indian nation, and condemn the terror attacks where our people have bled and have lost lives. And I think you are absolutely justified in asking them, where do they stand when we bleed? Like we know where we stand when they bleed, like in Peshawar. Most of our brothers and sisters from Bollywood or in a country wept because we knew what it feels to lose innocent children to those bloodthirsty bigots.
Absolutely. Now, Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, you're usually provocative, but I think in this case, when you put out that tweet, you were being unnecessarily provocative when you said, you know, I mean, do not let the actions of a few violent men write the future of many people who want peace. Kill terrorists, not talks. Sounds nice, Mr. Bhatt, kill terrorists, not talks. But the point that you've forgotten is that Islamabad, who you're very soft on, uses the guise of talks to gather support. And people like you, Mr. Bhatt, with the greatest of respect, people like you cater to the narrative that Pakistan is trying to sell to the world, where the hard fact is that the only consistency that talks have brought is this Pakistani betrayal. Why would you be so gullible? Why would you be so gullible? Are you just gullible or are you representing a group of interests?
Well, Arnab, since when does crying for peace make me a traitor?
No, these are statements you're using. I didn't use the word traitor. I said you were gullible.
No, I'm asking.
You're using the word traitor deliberately because you don't want to answer my question and you want to spin this into rhetoric.
No, I'm answering a question. I feel that I have a right to imagine that day, like the great Martin Luther King said, I have a dream. I have a dream of an India and a Pakistan where we can resolve our problems without the bullet. Can't I have the dream? The Mahatma had that dream. Most of the same people who crusade for a peaceful world, the people of India and Pakistan believe that there is possible to live.
No, you
in
advocate
harmony.
talks, Mr. Bhatt. We spoke to Islamabad despite 2611. Despite 166 people in our city, Mr. Bhatt getting killed.
Why did the
we spoke to them after that. What was achieved after that? What was achieved after that? What took the Prime Minister of India to Nawaz Sharif? The same hope. The Prime Minister,
that we can resolve the problem.
The Prime Minister engaged with his counterpart twice based solely on goodwill. Right? The pit stop in Lahore on December 25th, 2015 was pure goodwill on our part. What did we get in return? Let me ask you. It was Pathankot, 8 days later, added with a long pending denial from Islamabad to allow our NIA team to visit Pakistan so that we can bring justice to the 2611 victims. My question to you is, what did it get us? What did it get us?
Arnab Goswami.
Do you have a specific reply?
Arnab Goswami, man lives in hope and dies in hope. You have to hope for a day when peace will be delivered in our backyard without the gun being fired. And I think every leader does that. That's what took your Prime Minister there. What we got in return is heartbreaking.
So what we got in return is irrelevant. No, what you're saying is that what we got in return is irrelevant.
No, I said it's heartbreaking.
No, heartbreaking for whom? Heartbreaking for those who stretched out their hands. Nawaz Sharif attended the swearing-in ceremony of Modi on 27th May 2014. The response to the diplomatic exchange was met with ceasefire violations along the LOC twice. First in the Arnia sector of Jammu and Kashmir, followed by Punch. My question to you is, how can you say? On the first part, you're reasonable when you say Fawad should actually end his silence right now and speak. I agree with you. I agree with you. Though I think a section of pseudo-liberals will be shocked by your response today. They should be. But on this second point, Mr. Bhatt, I give you one more opportunity to explain. You advocate talks for peace. What did it ever change over the years? What did it change over the years?
When I say, I'm saying that my only route to influence the establishment of Pakistan, if there is an establishment there, is the people of Pakistan. It is the civil society of our countries that will get together and put pressure on the establishment. That is the single hope that keeps us going. Why the present Prime Minister of Pakistan does what he does is something which he needs to answer to my Prime Minister, because they got together under some kind of a belief that they would be able to deliver what the people of South Asia are clamoring for. And if they haven't delivered, then we will look up to them and say, well, try once again. What else can we do? We cannot possibly end this
Mr.
problem
Mr.
that
Bhatt,
exists
Mr. Bhatt,
with us
Mr.
by
Bhatt,
wars.
Mr. Bhatt, all this talk about imagining sounds very nice, straight out of the lyrics of some, John Lennon song, but it has absolutely no practical basis. But I commend you today, because you've at least had the courage to come out there and say that these Pakistani stars must end their silence. I think it is very important to do that. But tell me, why has one section of Bollywood...
Human beings...
No, but why has... But tell me, Mr. Bhatt, why has one section of Bollywood become so utterly snobbish that it doesn't seem to feel the pain of the people of India? Today, another soldier has been martyred, a 24-year-old young man from Etawah in Uttar Pradesh, who fought till the very end so that the forces could be defended at the 46th Rashtriya Rifles base. At a time like this, when even in Pakistan, Wasim Akram is telling everybody on television in Pakistan, all Pakistanis must unite. Why do people like Salman Khan and Karan Johar, and now I exclude you after this interview, why do they always say, oh, don't ask Fawad Khan to say anything, he's just a star? This angers people, Mr. Bhatt, but why are they becoming so insular, one section of Bollywood? Have they become self-righteous, insular, ostrich-like, or what?
Arnab, you're being unnecessarily harsh and prejudging them. I assure you that Salman and Karan Johar feel no different from me. Maybe you have not had an opportunity to push them enough to come onto your show and answer your question in a forthright manner.
Well, I think
since you mentioned this BSF soldier who died this morning, that's why I say when there is war of any kind, our own people die. So to avoid this kind of a bloodshed, we as the people of this country and the people of South Asia and of the human race must keep on investing in hope, and nobody can take away my right to imagine a world where the conflict will be resolved without any blood being shed. This is my position. You may call me a dreamer, that's your privilege.
Well, anyway, Rawalpindi doesn't feel that way. I thank you very much, Mahesh Bhatt, for joining me.
Thank you.
On this chat on the News Hour. Thank you, Mahesh Bhatt. Thank you. Thank you indeed.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.